sign that document. They came together, they signed, they mailed it away to England to a newspaper that they knew would get that information right to the king. This was very unusual action for women of that day. They were to be seen and not heard, but she didn't care. In later years, during the first quarter of the 19th century, a tradition developed that recognized what came to be called the Edenton Tea Party. You see, these women had had their tea party 2 years after the Boston Tea Party. They weren't far behind them. Each year, the ladies of Edenton had gathered on the town green across from the courthouse to commemorate the signing of the resolution. That is until the year of 2020. It brought us a pandemic and prevented the gathering. A concerned member of the Eden Historical Commission knew of a talented troupe that had been assembled during the country's bicentennial 44 years ago. The troupe was centered in Greensboro. They had developed an original musical. They had done a tour sponsored by Fieldcrest, and the central character was Penelope Barker. One telephone call from the commissioner led to the film that you are about to see. It includes 4 members of the original cast of the musical O Penelope. Following the 11-minute film, you will join Genie Jones, who played Penelope, and her handsome husband Fred in singing "This Is the Land That I Love" and the song "To the Flag." The accompanist is the composer Rosemary Cooper. You know her as Rosemary Jordan. This is the music that she wrote. Following the program, these cast members will be at the back of the room for comments and questions, a chance for you to learn more about this endeavor of great note. Enjoy the feature. Our fellow residents, thank you for coming, and we know that you will enjoy it.
We opened in the Barker Parlor in Edenton, North Carolina. Mrs. Penelope Barker, a well-dressed, energetic, and determined lady, sits embroidering before an embroidery frame. Mariah, a fresh and pretty girl who wears a maid's uniform with apron and cap, moves about, dusting and strengthening the bric-a-brac.
My, but it's a pretty day, Mrs. Barker. Is it? I hadn't noticed. I've been too upset. Upset? Why, ma'am, what about? You know what about, Mariah. It's about the way the king is treating us. He is treating us like we're not citizens at all. He's put a tax on nearly everything, including our tea. Instead, we ought to be free people, to live and do as we choose.
A ship's horn is heard blowing in the distance, and Penelope and Mariah paused to listen.
What is it, Mariah? It must be the British ship bringing in some more tea. Well, they shan't land. They'll bring no more tea into Edenton.
But ma'am, no tea at all?
No tea at all.
But every afternoon, what would you do without your tea? The ladies and the gentlemen too. They'd never be happy without their tea.
Oh, you know as well as I do, Mariah, it isn't the tea I'm upset about. In fact, I dote upon my tea every afternoon, precisely at 4 o'clock, just the same as all the ladies in Edenton. It's the tax the king has put on the tea.
But how will you stop them, ma'am, from unloading the tea?
Well, I have a plan, and I am going to put it into use. I have stirred up the ladies, their patriotic feelings, and their love for our country.
But our country is England, ma'am. This colony belongs to England. We're subjects of the king, so we must obey what he says.
The time has come, Mariah, to put an end to that. I'll not beat about the bush, Mariah, so long as the British Parliament levies a tax on our tea and we have no representation in Parliament, while we're not free citizens. We are reduced to the status of slaves. Taxation without representation, is that any way for the king to treat his people? I should say not, and I intend to do something about it.
But ma'am, shouldn't such things be left to the gentlemen?
Indeed not. They have dillied and dallied long enough. That's why we're in the fix we're in. So, if the time has come for action, and I intend to do something here and now. Now, Mariah, will you do me a favor? I need for you to run an errand for me. I want you to run down the street to my dearest friend and tell her the time has come, and for her to spread the word and get the ladies, and I will be with her shortly.
The time is that afternoon in the Barker parlor in Edenton. A tea table with an embroidered and lace edged cloth upon it had been placed in the room. Upon it are cups and saucers, napkins and so forth, and a plate of tea cakes.
Mariah, would you like to have a cup of this tea before my friends come? Let me give you a cup.
Mrs. Barker, are you trying to poison us? What is this?
It's tea, my dear.
But what is it made of?
Dried raspberry leaves. I picked them, I washed them, I dried them, and my doctor says it makes a very healthful brew.
Do you expect us to drink this terrible concoction for months?
Yes, indeed, as long as the king puts a tax on it.
It's not nearly so bad with sugar and cream. In fact, it makes a rather passable drink. We will not pay the tax on tea that the king has put on you and me. Our only drink in the future will be a nice hot cup of raspberry tea. The doctor says he can guarantee that all who use this recipe will benefit and more healthy live. You're able to fight for our liberty. So let me pour you a cup of raspberry tea. It's the only drink for this colony. When we go out in society, we'll all have a cup of raspberry tea. Yes, we'll all have some raspberry tea, raspberry tea, raspberry tea, the only drink for you and me is raspberry, raspberry tea.
And now the finale of the play. This is the land that I love, of all countries on earth is best, and we who dwell in its borders should know of all people on earth we are blessed. There's no other country on earth to compare with this beautiful land. So we cherish and guard it with war and peace to the end. This vow we will make, and this vow we will keep, so long as this world shall stand, as this world shall
Now, all of you have the music, and this last song that was sung by the crew, "This is the Land That I Love." Fred and I are going to sing that. We'll sing it again, and we want you to sing with us, because you have all the sheep, and join in with us. The words are just wonderful. And when we, although Fred's name didn't get mentioned, in the connection, he definitely got drafted for this. Oh, and there's one other thing I want to tell you. When we joined this troop in 1974 and heard all the music that Rosemarie had composed, we thought, this is the land that I love, and also the last one, To the Flag, were both songs that needed to be more widely known because the words and the music are so meaningful, especially on this 4th of July, celebrating our country.
This is the land that I love. All countries on earth is blessed, and we who dwell in its borders is known. Of all people on earth, we are blessed. There's no other country on earth to compare with this beautiful land. So we'll cherish and guard it in war and in peace to the end. This vow we will make, and this vow we will keep, so long as this earth shall stand. As this earth shall
Now, To the Flag is one you haven't heard before. So Fred and I are going to sing To the Flag. Now, we have, I've asked Dixie and Joe, if they will come here because we have the flag, this homemade flag, all hand done with 13 stars, and we used it in the play. So they will unfurl the flag, all hand done. Now you'll stand back just a little bit so we can see Rosemarie. Good, come forward a little bit more so we can see Rosemarie. Yeah, tell me when.
I'm the one who needs to see her.
Yeah.
To the flag, to the flag, to our beautiful flag, long may it wave on high. Our hearts will thrill and with rapture fill when we see it passing by. To the flag, to the flag, to the beautiful flag, it's the flag for you and me. If you know it or not, it stands for life, it stands for liberty. To the flag, to our beautiful flag, shout its praises far and near. It will always stand for this beautiful land that we will all hold dear. To the flag, to our beautiful flag, we're proud and we're planted too. To the flag, to our beautiful flag, the red, the white, and the blue.
Now it's your turn to sing with us too. We hope you'll join in. It has To the Flag a lot, and it has a repetition of some of the notes, so you can come right in. Hum if you want to.
She either did it or directed the parts that she didn't do, and it's amazing.
Thank you all for being here with us. We enjoyed this place so much, and all the music in it, and all the places we visited. And thank you all for being here, and we love it here, and we've enjoyed meeting you, and thank you for coming. And happy 4th of July.